Okay. Okay, so camera is frozen on the Pursuit of Happiness coloring page, which is great. Very helpful. I'm going to do my best to try and get this finished tonight, even if the camera is being a pain. I've honestly just spent the past, 20 minutes trying to get the camera working right. So, we're going to play with what we got. If I have to, when I finish, I will hold the picture up like this. Just, hey, for once it's showing color. Alright. So, for the moment, we're going to just hope the camera picks up and it starts working for us. And we're going to get back to coloring on our Cappy. We have made some very bold color choices so far. I like that. I do like bright colors. I mean, I'm using gel pens. There's not much choice. It's all going to be bright. But now I got to figure out our finishing touches, because we don't have much left, and we want to ensure that when we do finish up the Cappy, that the pieces that we choose, the colors we choose, kind of help meld all of these bright colors together. So I'm gonna start with a bright yellow. I don't think it's the gold that I've used before, but we're going to find out in a few. We're going to do the ears with this bright yellow. That's glittery, of course. That might actually be the same I use for gold. Oh, well. Our Cappy can have gilded ears. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish up this last piece, but I wanted to get the crafting stream going while the living room is not Grand Central Station for once, because, people are sleeping. That's why I normally do these streams in the middle of the night. It's the time that I'm least likely to have somebody walking in and interrupting me. I'm seeing some spots from last time that were not as filled in as I thought, so I'll have to go back and fix those. But we'll get there. But yeah, this is the time of night when normally everybody else in the household is asleep. I mean, except for one of the others in the house, because they tend to be up all night like I am. One of my roommates would still be awake, but it would be just finished work, got some food, and is going to eat and then go to bed. So, no real distractions there. Thank you so much, Doja B, for the follow. I can see chat today. Keep in mind, I do have a 10-minute follow on, and I have the authenticator requirement. It's a case of, having dealt with the mess that happened last September with all of the hate rates and stuff. I was a moderator on several streams that were part of the stream being rated, and as a precaution, since my name was recognizable from those, I figured it was probably best for me to put on requirements to make certain that I didn't get hate rated as well. And I just haven't taken those off, which is probably a good thing, given that apparently hate raids are still happening, just not quite as often or as openly. Also, just so you know, my camera's frozen because my camera's dumb and does not like Twitch. And so I will be periodically holding up the coloring page I'm working on so that people can see it on screen. But for the moment, it's kind of, it's hard to color when you're having to hold it up. So I'm doing what I can for now. All right, I have a bright, glittery purple. So that's where I'm going to go next, and I'm going to use that on the capybara's butt. At least parts of it. This capybara is sponsored by Mardi Gras or Carnival. Both are very similar in the bright colors. I don't think they have the same purpose. I know Mardi Gras is the either, hey, we are just about to have Lent, or hey, we just finished Lent and we just went through this period where we were either will be or were putting off all of these things we enjoy as a religious observance, so we're going to have one hell of a party either before we get started or after we finish. I can never remember which. Carnival, I'm not sure of the origins of. I mean, it's a party. It's a hell of a party, just like Mardi Gras. But I don't know if it's, a religious oriented, or if it's just, hey, we want an excuse to party, so let's have this massive, pretty much nationwide party. I don't know, it looks like a lot of fun. Someday maybe I'll go. Not today. Not this year. Given that I'm buying a house right now, probably not for a few years. Gotta get all that under my belt. Right. I'm also carrying through this bright glittery purple from the back half over here to the front. So it's on the front legs as well. And I'm doing that to help tie all of these color choices together. I'm trying to, for the most part, avoid glitter on glitter. Because I think, aside from the necklace, because I think it would be a bit much if I did that. But certain parts, glitter's okay. And I'm realizing, now that I look, that I missed some things that were carried from the carried from the forelegs over to the hind legs in the motif. So motif. I don't know. The joy of sometimes, learning words by seeing them written and not actually hearing. Oh, that whole section is his belly, and it should be the same purple glitter as everything else. Which does mean there's going to be a brief spot or two where the shinies overlap, but that's okay. His bright bronze, his or her, I didn't ever decide. I assume it's male. Just because, capybara for me. If I were a animal, I believe I would be a capybara, because they are like ultra chill. And for those who know me, you guys see one facet of my personality, which, yes, is fairly chill, but you also get to see me grousing about politics and other things, and those are somewhat less chill. They're important, but they're less chill. So, you guys do get to see me kind of get heat up. Head. How do they say it? Head up? Heat up? I don't know. Either way, you guys get to see me a bit more passionate than most. Not that I'm not passionate. I am. Just, I'm also very laid back about things. There are people who assume it's because I just don't care, but it's not. It's that I care very deeply, but I also know that if I let myself get too wrapped up in a cause or in that passion, it will go very badly. So I take precautions to prevent that. Because I don't like when things go badly. Thank you very much. I don't like when I'm so angry that I'm yelling, or so upset that I can't eat, which are things that happen if I am not careful about things. So I take precautions to prevent that. Oop. Especially the so upset I can't eat, because that's a problem. I've already screwed over my body by not eating. You guys have, I think I've mentioned the whole, did the keto diet and did it so rigorously that I gave myself gallstones and diabetes. So, good reasons not to engage in that kind of thing anymore. Especially if, again, something is going to get me so stressed that I won't eat. It's a good idea that I just back up for a bit. Because if I don't eat, my blood sugar actually goes up. I have yet to figure out why. I'm sure somebody who is a dietitian or a doctor of some sort could explain it. I do know that when my stress levels go up, my blood sugar goes up, but I believe that's due to cortisol. I've had a lot of things going on that had me stressed out recently, with the house buying experience. I'm not going to go into details because it will turn into a rant. But there's been some stuff going on that has resulted in me getting extremely stressed about the process, and I tested my blood sugar one day after having spent literal hours on the phone and in email dealing with some of what's going on. And finally, and I didn't eat the whole time I was doing it, and finally at the end I tested my blood sugar and found it was over 300, which is not good. Let's phrase it that way. So I had to kind of just take a break from it, and back off a bit and hope that, things would go back down to where they should be. And I haven't really tested it the past couple days. I always give myself the weekend off from testing. One, because I tend to be so busy that I'm out the door, and by the time I get home I'll probably grab some fast food or something like that to eat. And I always try to test before I've eaten for the day, because I test on days when I'm not, running errands and stuff. I test first thing when I wake up. So weekends it's just, nope, not bothering. Got too much to do. Okay, so now I need to figure out what his feet are going to look like, what color they will be. I'm thinking a green, but I don't want to use the metallic green that I used last time. So I might end up choosing a different color instead. I do have some lovely shades of blue I can use. I've been using the lighter blues on his feet already. I've got the darker blue, but I use that on his feet too. Dadgummit. Okay, so maybe not a blue. How about the bright fluorescent almost orange? We're gonna go with that. Which I have not used for parts of his feet already. I used a less vibrant orange, I think. Could be wrong. Could work on this and then discover, hey, you repeated this color. Which I've been repeating colors, just not quite as. I'm trying to repeat them without, like, getting too close to each other, basically. Because, you know, you want some variety on your capybara. The giant rodent, I believe the largest rodent in the world. There used to be bigger, but those died out. So our friend the Cappy is the surviving champion. And boy, what a champion they are. As I mentioned, they are a very laid-back animal for the most part. This does not mean you should go up to a wild capybara and pet them. They do bite, and they bite hard. Those chompers in the picture, those big old teeth, they're not just for show. They can do some damage. And they will if you decide to mess with them and annoy them. Also, all those pictures that you see floating around of, oh, look, these capybara are kissing. No, that's them fighting. They basically fight by locking those teeth together and trying to chew each other's lips off. So, you know, all those pictures where people say, oh, they're kissing. Nope. That's them trying to injure each other. It's just a very slow battle, honestly. They don't fight fast. I don't know if it's a test of wills type thing, or endurance, or if it's just that's how they are. Still not quite as weird as the wombat, which poops cubes. And poops in such a way that the cubes stack, because they do that as a, this is my territory marker. So if you come across a pile of little brown blocks when you are in Australia, leave them be. It's wombat shit. And the wombat wants it that way. I mean, I guess the main thing is just leave the damn wildlife alone. For the most part, you know, if you find wildlife in your house and you can safely remove it, do so. I do that regularly with the tiny possums. And today, the bumblebee that got in. Well, I guess it would be yesterday. I was about to go to bed and received notification from my roommate that there was a bee problem, and there was a very large and fluffy and, you know, confused bumblebee doing what they do best, which is bumbling. And it slammed itself into a lampshade hard enough after enough tries that it stunned itself, fell to the floor, and then because of where it was, I couldn't really get to it while it was on the floor, so it crawled up onto the bed, and that is where I managed to catch it in my bug catching cup, which is a Talenti ice cream gelato whatever container. I like them because they have a clear view of the insect inside, so if it's ever something like I don't know what it is and I want to identify it, oh look, I can just, I've got this screw on cap. The bug has enough air to be fine for the 5-10 minutes it takes me to snap a few pictures, and then I can take it outside and let it loose. Which is why I like those cups. That and the Talenti's good. If given the choice, I'm still probably going to be getting Ben & Jerry's, but Talenti's is good sometimes. And if it happens to go on sale and be cheaper than the Ben & Jerry's, because they're both fairly pricey ice creams, then, I'll get Talenti for once. But Ben & Jerry's is delicious. And they have Chunky Monkey. I have been experimenting with buying the dairy-free ice creams because I am lactose intolerant. And, when your stress response every now and then, not often, don't go back to my doctor and go, hey, did you know Mason said, if you guys can even find my doctor, but did you know Mason said that his stress response is to eat a pint of ice cream? And she'd probably go, yeah, I believe it. And then tell me, hey, you need to stop that. But I haven't been doing that lately. I've actually got a pint in the freezer that's been there for like a couple weeks and I haven't finished it yet. So, And again, I've just been so stressed I don't want to eat it all lately, so, is what it is. I've even got chocolate that I haven't finished off, which is pretty impressive for me. Because I like sweets. I like sweets and I like red meats. Don't get me wrong, I'll eat chicken, turkey, whatever. But I like red meat because my body does not process iron very well, except from red meat sources. Same with protein. Kinda sucks. Makes me anemic really fast. Okay, so now, where are we going to go from here? I really wish that the camera weren't borked, but it just refuses to work with me, and I'm tired of messing with it for today. So, you guys just get to see the picture from before it messed up. Maybe it'll start working again. It has before, so hopefully. And periodically, like I said, I will be holding the picture up so you guys can see how it's going. I'll probably, once I finish the part that I'm working on right now, hold it up to show you guys. Because it is getting closer. It has just a couple more spots that I've got to find the right color to do. Obviously, you can't get something like this that has, like, all these neat geometric patterns and just do, it's a capybara, it's gonna be brown. You can't do that. That's just a waste of the potential of the piece. I mean, if you just want a brown, plain capybara, why not get a capybara coloring sheet that doesn't have all of the patterns and geometric things on it? Why not do that? At the same time, if you're like me and you were actually given the coloring book as a gift, but you still just want a plain brown capybara, well, more power to you. It is ultimately your picture and your coloring book. I just can't do that myself. Other news of the Mason. Let's see. That is not house news. Not doing that today. I'll let y'all know next week the results of what I find out tomorrow, aka Monday. Um, I did finally start getting my bonus from work, which is nice. Up until now, it has been I would get the notification, hey, your bonus is coming in, and then I would check ADP, which is of course where most companies show off, hey, here's your pay stubs, and discover that my take home from my bonus would be $0.00. Every penny would be taken up by taxes. And I don't make enough to be taxed at a 100% rate, given that there is nobody that gets taxed at a 100% rate. Yeah, there's people going, oh, they want to tax the rich at this super high rate. Except that that's not how those taxes work. It's a tiered system, and you're taxed up to, when you hit the top of that tier, then you go to the next tier. But money that you had before that tier gets taxed at the original tier. It doesn't get taxed at the higher rate, which is why it's really stupid that people are like, they want to tax the rich at a 70% rate and take all their money. No, they don't. They want the rich to pay what, everybody else is paying, and then on the amount over what other people can get, pay at a slightly higher rate. And you know what? I kind of had an argument about this with my mother, who, I love her. I really do. But she's been pretty much brainwashed by the drivel that my dad watches all the time. And, I mentioned to her that in the 60s, the rich were taxed at I believe, 60 or 70% tax rate. I think it might have actually been higher than that. And, that it was great for society. It meant that we could do so many wonderful things. And she goes, oh, honey, what did they do in the 60s? Mom, you lived through it. And I look at her, I didn't say that. Instead, I looked at her and went, we went to the moon, Mom. And she paused for a minute, and then she went, oh, I guess we did. And, yeah. It's weird how, Republicans always talk about how great things were and how we went to the moon and how democracy has failed because we're not going to the moon anymore. Well, there's not much on the moon. We're actually going to other planets now, but nobody really talks about it, at least among the Republicans, because they're too busy trying to defund NASA, which would kind of make it so we can't do it anymore. In fact, NASA at the moment is having to use, what is the term? It's where they're commercial. They're using companies to help fund NASA's space flights, which, okay, great, except that those companies are eventually going, especially the one that they're using the most, SpaceX, eventually those companies are going to go, okay, now we get to colonize this planet that we've found, or we get all mineral rights to the moon, or things like that. And I think it's a terrible idea. NASA should be 100% publicly funded by the government, and our tax money should be paying for that, not for us to go to war on other countries. Well, some wars are justifiable. Like the Ukrainian battle for independence at the moment. Completely justifiable. They have a foreign power that is trying very hard to take over their country. So yes, World Wars I and II were actually justifiable wars. but a lot of the wars that have been going on for quite some time in the U.S. or outside the U.S., but the U.S. is involved, not so justifiable. We really don't have a good reason to be there, good reason to be mucking around in other people's business. Dadgummit. Oh, good. It's decided to work again. So let me show you guys what we've done so far. As soon as I figure out where is the thing? There. Good enough. So I added these brighter orange on the feet and on the back foot. I added this purple glittery there and then carried that down here as part of the theme. I added more of the bright orange on the collar area. So the only real things I have left are this set. Oh, no, we're frozen again. Okay, well, so Levy. C'est la vie. You'll see it when it's done. Let's see. Or you can see it now as I'm working on it. That works too. So what I want to do right now, I need to figure out this area, and then the face, and then this little bit of fringe. Now the fringe, I want to do something lighter, because it's got those black lines, and it's real easy, if I'm not careful, to color right into those black lines, and they disappear under the gel. So I figure if I'm using a lighter color, it'll at least make it less likely that I accidentally hide those lines. Because they are part of the geometric design, so I want them there. Nose is itchy. Nose is always itchy during stream. I don't know why. It just is. Anyhow, but yeah, war can be justifiable, but most of the time it's not, and the U.S. has definitely been involved in more than its fair share of conflicts that it had no reason to be involved in, and was to the detriment both of the U.S. and of the country that the U.S. decided to send troops over to, claiming it was to help that other country's freedom. We've done a lot of things that have come back and bit us on the butt hard. And you know, I say that, but I don't want to say that, you know, being an American automatically makes you a bad person or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, we all need to be looking long and hard at what our country does and thinking very strongly about who we vote for. Because honestly, as I saw it very eloquently put recently, not voting is not an act of rebellion or of defiance or rebellion, it's an act of submission. If we do not vote, if we do not take part in the politics of our country, this is specifically for Americans, those of us who are overseas and are watching, you know, you have to look at how your country handles things, but for Americans, the act of not voting just results in almost guaranteeing you won't get what you want. There's a reason why certain parties, and I'm not naming names here, but certain parties have been working so hard to convince people that voting doesn't work, and that voting, and that people voting should not be able to vote unless they are meeting certain demographics. in the U.S. You have lost your rights to vote. And the only real reason for a government to ever do that